Well, hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. This is a new channel called The Linguist Life, and we're going to talk about all things related to languages. So the thumbnail is actually an invitation to a discussion that we should have. I say I am not a polyglot, but am I? And let's try to get that out of the way right away. Because the channel's not going to be about me and how many languages I can speak. There are a lot of polyglots out there, and that's wonderful. And we'll talk about some of them, but it's going to be more about other things, and we'll get into that in a minute. So let's start off by going into my languages a little bit, just to kind of get that out of the way. So English, clearly mother tongue. Aber ich kann genauso gut Deutsch. Meine Großmutter stammte aus Deutschland, meine Mutter auch, aber meine Mutter hat nie mit mir Deutsch gesprochen. Meine Großmutter schon, aber sie hat Sächsisch gesprochen. Und wie ich klein war, habe ich immer Sächsisch gehört, aber auf Englisch geantwortet und habe dieses Dialekt sehr gerne, dieses Sächsische. Also Dresden, Sachsen, Saxony. Aber jetzt wohne ich in Wien. Ich bin mit 14 nach Wien gekommen und bin immer wieder hin und her zwischen USA und Österreich gewandert und red einfach auch Wienerisch. So the German is really fluent. I can do medical stuff, I can do contracts, I can do any kind of business. I worked in German for years, every day. So that's how my German goes. And now the other languages, they start to get a little less fluent. All right, so let's look at my Farsi. سلام به هم، من تونی هستم، من تو وین زندگی میکنم. چرا فارسی بلدم؟ برای اینکه زن من ایرانی هسته، دو تا پسرها داریم، من چلو که کوبیده خیلی دوست دارم. So, I mean, it's kitchen language. Maybe I can pronounce it really well, and we'll get into that a little bit as well later about the difference between ways people learn, auditory versus, grammar and repetition and stuff like that. I'm more the auditory kind of guy, and that's another discussion. Now we can go into Spanish a little bit. Yo hablo un poco de español porque hemos vivido en Madrid 2-3 años. Nunca he estudiado español en una clase, en una escuela, pero porque aprendido la idioma en la calle, en tabernas, con amigos. So I can get by in Spanish fairly well with this day-to-day talk. Big vocabulary, lousy grammar, decent pronunciation, good listening comprehension. The Italian is pretty much the same as the Spanish. I'm not even going to go into it, but I grew up in New York City, and in the Bronx you always hear Italian almost every day. I have Italian friends. I did take a year of Italian in college, so I have a good grammatical foundation. I go to Italy pretty often because it's just 4 hours by car down to Udine from here, and when we drive to Spain from Vienna, we often pass through Italy and spend 3 or 4 days in each direction just visiting different places there. So a lot of opportunities to practice the Italian. And then you start to get into fringe associations where it's like, okay, I'm fluent in German, and when I read Dutch, I can read Dutch, I'd say about 75-80%. It's much different when you're trying to understand. Or Norwegian, Swedish. Again, if you're showing me things in Norwegian and Swedish, I'm going to understand a great deal. But I've been to Sweden, and I had a terrible time trying to understand spoken Swedish. So very little exposure there to actually working on that. So with the Romance languages, with the amount of exposure to Italian and Spanish, like if I go to Portugal and I read a menu, or I'm in the store and I'm looking at stuff, I'm trying to buy groceries or whatever it is, or looking at a website to get plane tickets or train tickets, it's not that difficult, of course. And the same with Catalan. French is a little different. I did have a year of French in high school and a year of French in college, but I just haven't had the opportunity to really practice. And again, going through France multiple times in the last few years, I've had a little bit of an opportunity to try it, but not much. So you have your Germanic languages with all of their similarities, that if you have one really, really good, really solid, I don't see a stretch in trying to acquire other ones by just picking up those variations that make them different. And the same with the Romance languages. So that's it. It's really not about me and how many languages I speak. What I want to do is talk about languages in general and interview people that have some special kind of skill or something like that. So I want to talk about early language acquisition. We have two children, and they were raised in bilingual and trilingual environments. And how did that go? Going to have my son on, who's on his 5th language now, and to kind of get some opinions from him about, early memories of languages and language variation or differences and acquisition as far as he can remember, and then also languages that he acquired later in life. So it'd be real interesting to talk to him. I have a friend who was born deaf, and she is a polyglot, and we're going to have talk with her. She's actually going to co-host the channel with me and do some of the other interviews and some of the other videos. So that'll be really interesting. We're going to try to talk to polyglots, or you go into a little bit of the polyglot channels and have some opinions. I don't know, more gentle than not, about who I think is serious, who I don't. In general, I love the idea of these guys out there doing the polyglot channels, because if anything, I still think it really encourages people to learn. I got to know Moses McCormick a little bit before he passed away in the early days of his channel, Laoshu 5500. And he and I talked just a little bit about it. And when he had his twins, we chatted a little bit about how that was going to go and how he was going to approach teaching them languages. The effort he put in was amazing. The fearlessness, and that's probably like the #1 thing for me in how I approach languages, is I don't care if I don't understand right away. I don't care if I'm in a place with a completely different language. I'm going to right away be interested in trying to figure things out. And you have to be fearless. And I thought, Moses' approach with being completely fearless was wonderful. I got to meet Richard Simcott once when I was working for Lego, and he was consulting into Lego, and he's just incredible. I'd love to discuss things like compartmentalization with him, and other people, of course, who have many, many languages and how they're able to keep those separate. So I think that's really, really important. We're going to look at some language software like Rosetta Stone and DuoLingo and Babbel, and see what works and what doesn't work. I really haven't tried any of those. I mean, I have Rosetta Stone now, and I may be trying to do some Arabic because I'm going to be in Dubai in a couple of months, and I'd love to see what I could do starting from basically 0 to see what happens. All right, with Arabic, not completely from 0, because my adopted grandfather, when I was little in New York, was Maltese, and he taught me prayers in Maltese. He taught me numbers and some food. And so Maltese is Semitic and very close to Arabic in many regards. It's written in the Roman alphabet, but it's clearly a Semitic language with close ties to Arabic. So it'll be really interesting to maybe look now at Arabic and see what kinds of things pop back up into my memory. Language programs. What universities are doing a great job of preparing people for careers in interpretation, translation programs. My son actually did the NSLI-Y, National Security Language Initiatives for Youth program from the U.S. State Department. He got to go to Turkey for a school year on that, and that'll be another part of the discussion I'd like to have with him. Maybe we'll do 2 parts with him to try to get, because he's just got a really great kind of background in language learning, and it'd be really nice to have a deeper talk with him about that. AI tools. I've been starting to delve into AI tools and see what's going on there with language translation. I've done some experimenting already, preparing for this channel. Again, brand new channel, so like, subscribe, follow me here, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, the AI tools for voice translation, I did an English recording and I ran it through HeyGen, and I found 4 or 5 other tools that I want to run it through and see how they stack up. So that'll be pretty interesting as well. Learning with a disability, talked about my friend who's going to be working on the channel with me and how she manages 3 to 4 languages with her struggle with hearing. Polyglot conferences. There's a really big one coming up at the end of May in Brno, in the Czech Republic. I'm going to be there. I think the list right now has about 600 attendees. So that's going to be a great conference to be at, and just to get to talk to people and practice different languages and see what people are saying. I think it'll be a really good vibe. We're going to talk about language frameworks and leveling. There are 3 main ones. We've got 3, the CEFR. I'm reading it here because I always forget. It's the Common European Framework. We've got ACTFL, the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, and then you have ILR. And ILR is the Interagency Language Roundtable. So the program that used to be based out of Middlebury College in Vermont, which is now part of the Defense Learning Institute, I forget, or Defense Language, out in Monterey. I'll put a link up here during the video for that, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, because I forgot just right now. Okay, so that's basically where I'm at. I don't really have anything else for this first episode, but look for these to come out about once a week, and it'll be great if you could join me and help the channel to grow. Love just having a discussion. Maybe we'll be doing some live sessions where we get people on here and just start to talk about languages they love, languages they find difficult, easy, and how they go about learning, books, apps, classroom learning, and so on. So hope this kind of piques your interest, and look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.